Hello and welcome to the channel where we talk about all things card games and chill with friends. My name is Liam and today I'm joined by WUNDER RiKU for a react to the English versions of the Hololive OCG Set 1 cards, Blooming Radiance. Riku, hello!
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, doing good, mate, doing good. Obviously, I know you've been super busy recently, but thank you for coming on. And I mean, first things first, of course, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I am WUNDER RiKU. I am a songwriter, producer, working a lot in the J-pop and VTuber world. You might know me from some of my songs that I've done with Hololive English, like Astro Girl, Chikutaku, Mechanopsis, and Blue Horizon and Full Color for Gogoro as well. And very recently working on a song for Iron Mouse called Music Box of Fate 2 with Daryl Barnes. So yeah, probably you probably heard some of my music around if you're into Hololive, that's for sure. And I'm also a little bit into trading card games too, so we have a lot in common, I think. Yeah, absolutely. So we've been speaking about this for a while, just through obviously us contacting and us working together on the Amelia fan song, which was Under the Stars, which was like what an experience that was. And obviously you had the recent one as well for Gal Gudda, which I know recently has just hit 250,000 views. Yeah, it did. Yeah, we just reached that huge milestone, which the whole team is super proud of.
Which, yeah.
And Under the Stars is also coming very close up to 200,000 too.
Yeah, it's honestly like, it's absolutely amazing what you guys have done. And if you haven't heard of WUNDER RiKU's music, I'll put a link down below where you can find it. Please go check it out. But of course, if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoy this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. Check out my other socials, those links in the description. And if you want to support the channel by any means, please consider becoming a member and hitting that join button down below. But without further ado, let's jump into our cards. So I've got 10 cards here for WUNDER RiKU, and we've got a collection of supports. We've got an Oshi in there, and we've got some holomems. And basically, we're going to get WUNDER RiKU with the experience that he does have in the world of trading card games to give us a bit of a review and tell us what he thinks to them. So, are we ready?
Yeah, let's go for it. I know absolutely nothing about the Hololive trading card game. I have kept myself in the dark as much as possible purely for this video.
It's actually true. Like we've been speaking about doing this video for like 5 or 6 months now.
Yeah.
It's been ages. So the fact that we've now got these English cards, we can go, right, we're doing this, it's happening. I just smacked Riku. Smack.
It's fine.
Okay then, so the first card that we've got is Harusaki Norika. It's a limited support with the staff type, and it simply lets you draw 3 cards from your deck.
Simply. Okay, for a little bit of background, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! From about 2016 up to about 2020.
Sure.
And very recently I've been really into TCG Pocket as well, Pokemon TCG Pocket. But most of my experience is playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? There's a card called Pot of Greed that I'm sure you're probably familiar with.
What does it do?
What does it do? Draw 2 cards. It is quite possibly one of the most broken cards that was ever made in the game. It is busted. It is banned. It is so banned. It's super banned. It will never be legal ever. So draw 3 cards from your deck. So the one thing I will add, the one thing I will add to this is that it is what's known as a limited support card. Basically meaning that similar to supporters in Pokemon, you're only allowed to use 1 per turn. Yeah, I can see that they're used for 1 per turn. So that seems, you know, a lot more balanced. That there is that, like drawing multiples of these doesn't just mean that you draw half your deck in a turn. But 3 cards. So okay, what resources do you have in Hololive?
Yeah,
because in Yu-Gi-Oh! There isn't a resource system. Like you just, the cards are your resource, right? But in Pokemon and Magic, you've got mana and energy and stuff.
Yes.
What are resources like in this game?
So put it this way: Hololive OCG is basically Pokemon but better. So you've got an energy system. You've basically got this. It's basically an energy pool system similar to Pocket. So your energies, or cheers, what they're called in this game, are a separate deck of cards which once per turn, you reveal the top one and attach it to one of your holomems as a energy requirement.
Ah, I see.
Then you also got hand size. There's no maximum hand size in this game. Again, same as the Pokemon TCG. Yeah. The thing to take into mind is that the Hololive OCG is 85% the Pokemon TCG.
Okay, interesting. So in that case then, I think this card is probably very good, but I don't think it's busted, right? Because Professor's research in Pokemon is just a fine card. Like, it's a really good card. Everyone's going to play it, of course. Every deck will have it as a staple. But, like, it's not busted because it has a once per turn clause.
Yep.
And card draw isn't... Like, you've got an extra resource that's limiting you. So card draw isn't, like, super crazy. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where, like, card draw has to be like super like locked down and made and regulated. Otherwise the game just becomes like every game becomes a one-turn game.
To be honest, I think you summarized that pretty perfectly. Actually, it's
nice.
It's literally the Professor's research or Professor Oak of the game. There's actually in the actual physical card game, there are cards that are basically exactly the same card as this. There's a back in, I think it was Black and White, there was a trainer called Hal, which is literally draw 3 cards from your deck.
Wow.
It's literally that. So, yeah, honestly, I think the description, again, most decks run it as a 3 to 4 of, 4 being the maximum number of cards you can have of it.
You can have 4 of a card in a deck?
Yes, correct.
Whoa. Wait, so what's the deck size like? So it's a 50 card deck with a 20 card cheer deck, your energy deck. Whoa, that's crazy.
So yeah, no, it's very similar because like the physical Pokemon TCG is 60 cards,
right,
but with no extra deck for your cheers. Your energies are in the main deck.
Yeah.
So it's very similar, very similar.
I like how your resource system is in a separate deck and that you just get a consistent one every turn.
Yes.
I think I enjoy that far more. It's actually something that's put me off playing Pokemon TCG in real life.
Yeah.
What really drew me to playing the pocket version.
Yes, absolutely.
And I really enjoy it. So that sounds really cool. I like that a lot.
Right, well that's card number 1 done. So the next card I'm going to show you is what we call an Oshi. So an Oshi Holomem is basically a leader of the deck where it's there at for the beginning of the game for the entire thing. It signifies how much life you have, which is very similar to like the prize points you get in Pocket. The way it works, so for context, life, when one of your holomems is downed or knocked out, you take the top card of your life, and it is always a cheer card, and you attach it to one of your holomems. So it's kind of a combat mechanic.
Oh, cool.
So that life, or the number of life that you get, what happens at the beginning of the game, you flip over your leader, your Oshi, and you put the top X cards from the top of your cheer deck into your life zone. And then once you lose a holomem, you get those back and attach it basically as like a energy ramp, cheer ramp, mana ramp sort of thing.
Right.
So the leader I'm going to show you is from the start deck. It's one that you get with the main cards, and it is Tokino Sora. So as you can see, she has 5 life. So Oshis in this game have either 5 life or 6 life. And depending on what their card effects are and certain synergies within the game will define whether it is a 5 life or a 6 life. So it's got 2 skills. So the Oshi skill, which is a once per turn skill, which in order to use that, you have to spend what's called Holo Power. And you generate that when you do certain things in the game. You only generate 1 per turn. So the Oshi skill called Replacement lets you once per turn reattach a cheer from your stage to one of your holomem. That basically means it's an energy switch. You can move 1 cheer from one of your holomem to a different one.
Okay.
And then the SP Oshi skill, which is a once per game skill.
Oh, once per game.
Yes. So it's so basically it's once per game. You may have to pay 2 holo power, not just 1. And it's called So That Makes You My Enemy. Once per game, you may swap one of your opponent's center holomem with 1 back holomem. And then during this turn, your white center holomem gets plus 50 power to its arts. When it says white, it basically means like they have a color. So for example, Tokino Sora is a white Oshi. You will see later on in the holomems that we cover, at the top of the card, it will have like a color on it. and that defines what color it is.
Yeah, it's like colors in Magic
Or typing in Pokemon.
Yeah, typing in Pokemon attributes in Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah,
Precisely. So yeah, initial thoughts.
Okay, so I actually have a Japanese copy of this starter deck that I bought when I was in Tokyo, but I haven't opened it again because I wanted to like stay fresh. So starter decks usually don't necessarily give you the most powerful cards in the world. They're there to kind of introduce you to the mechanics of the game. Reattaching one cheer from your stage to one of your Holomem seems like a good way of ramping up a bit once per turn. Being able to swap out your opponent's cards for one of their, what I'm guessing is their bench, like a back Holomem. That sounds like
that's correct.
A bench system, right?
Yep, correct.
So I mean, that's always a powerful thing to be able to do. It means that you're in control somewhat of what your opponent's doing. During this turn, your white center Holomem gets art. So remind me the art system again.
So arts are the attacks.
Okay.
So they'll have, again, it's very similar layout to the Pokemon cards, where you'll have a cheer requirement to use an art, whether it be like one fire or one fire, one colorless, or stuff like that. But obviously in this game, you've only got six types to worry about. And with set 1, you've only got to worry about 4 types. The other ones come out in set 2 and set 3.
Oh, interesting.
So you'll have a cheer requirement. You'll then have a cheer damage or an art damage, which is what this plus 50 is for. So basically, it increases that by 50. And then arts also have like an additional effect, which, well, sometimes they do. Like again, like Pokemon, where I don't know, a fire spin will say discard 2 fire energy from this Pokemon, for example. Or they'll have like, oh, your Pokemon, your opponent's active Pokemon is also poisoned, or something like that. They'll have like some arts have additional effect as well.
So how does that art damage relate to? Is that affecting their life?
No. So the only way to affect life is by downing a Holomem. So Holomems have HP, again, same as Pokemon.
Yeah.
So for example, if I was doing an art that's worth, I don't know, 50 damage, and that Holomem has 100 HP, it would then go down to 50 HP remaining. If I was to use this art and my Holomem was white, it would go from 50 to 100 and actually give you a 1-hit KO. And for context, the HP range of Holomems right now is anywhere between 60, or 50 actually, 50 is the lowest. And I think the maximum in set 1 is 210. Oh, okay. 240.
Okay, so plus 50 feels like decent. Decently impactful. Yep. That's probably going to get you over a few breakpoints in kind of HP.
Yep.
So I want to say that this is probably, I mean, particularly in the starting format, right at the beginning of the game, before any expansions, this seems like a fairly decent card. I can imagine that in the Japanese version of the game, I can imagine that this has probably been power crept already.
Sure.
I think it gives you've got utility to, you can power up, you can also mess with your opponent's board, and you can also increase the attack of one of your Holomems. That feels like a lot of utility for a single card to me.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So I would say this seems like a pretty good card. Like a pretty good card. I wouldn't say like, it's hard to know whether it's busted or not. So I don't have the context of anything else yet.
Yep.
So I'm just going to go in with this is like maybe like a 7.5 out of 10 kind of card. That's
fair. No. So I guess to summarize it from my end, obviously as well, from playing the game for nearly a year now. This is, in my opinion, the best generic Oshi, which you could put in any deck if there isn't an Oshi specifically for that deck.
Right, I see.
It's probably the best one you can just slap into any deck and go, yeah, it's got to do things.
Ah, okay. So this is just a really strong sort of generic card. Yes. Right.
They designed it really well for the start deck. It was a really good move. Cool. Right. Okay, so we're now going to go into the Holomems. I'm not going to do any more Oshis. So the next card we're going to cover is Tokuno Soda, second. So second bloom. So this is a second bloom, which basically makes it a stage 2. It's the Charizard of the Sora line.
Gotcha.
It's got 210 HP. It's got a collab effect, which basically means in this game, obviously in Pokemon, you've got the active Pokemon and your bench, right? In Hololive OCG, you've got your backstage, which is your bench. You've got your center, which is your active. And you've got a collab position, which is basically a position where you can move once per turn a Holomem from your backstage to that collab zone and then get effects, use it to attack as well. It can also be attacked on the return swing. And then during your next turn, that collab mem comes back to your backstage so you can bring another one out next turn.
That's a really cool mechanic.
It kind of makes Pokemon tag team.
Yeah, a little bit. I really like that. So you have like one active,
yes,
but you have this option to tag team in
yes
another one. You can use its effects and it can attack, but you can kind of swap it backwards and forwards.
Yes.
Okay, but your opponent can also take advantage of that and attack into it too.
Yes.
That's really cool. It's a really cool mechanic.
It is.
I like that.
And when you do that collab, there are certain cards like this one that has what's known as a collab effect, which basically means when this Holomem is collabed with, i.e. you move it from the backstage to the collab zone as part of your collab, it gets the effect. So it's on collab, draw 2 cards.
Wow. I mean, that seems like a great effect. Like, I mean, when is that ever a bad thing?
Exactly. It's rather good. And then finally, it's got an art. So it requires 2 white cheer and 1 any other cheer. That grey symbol is like a colorless.
Great.
For 80 damage. And that little plus 50 on the right-hand side of that basically means that if it attacks a red Holomem, it will deal an additional 50 damage.
Oh, interesting.
So it's an advantage system rather than a weakness system.
Oh, I see. Cool. Yes. I like that.
And then its art ability is when you use the art, you may roll a die once. If that is odd, you can use this art one more time for the same Holomem.
Oh.
And it can be repeated until that Holomem is downed. So for example, you have a Holomem on your opponent's stage with, I don't know, 200 HP. You use Not Gonna Stop. It does 80 damage guaranteed. You then roll a die. It rolls a 1. Fantastic. I'm going to use it again. Does another 80 damage. Cool. It's still up there. Cool. I'm going to roll again. Oh, it rolls a 1 again. Cool. I'll do another 80 damage. Oh, your Holomem is now downed.
You could just keep doing that in the same turn.
Yep.
That seems busted as hell. I mean, so you've got a 50% chance of doing 160, which seems pretty good, but you then have a 25% chance of doing, what's that, 240?
Yep.
And if 210 is the top HP, did you say?
240 is the top currently.
So 240 is the top. Okay. You have a 25% chance of KOing anything in the game, essentially. A 50% chance of KOing most things, and a 50% chance of just doing 80, which still seems like a decent chunk of damage.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
That seems really good. And then its collab effect is draw 2 cards. I get that baton pass looks like a retreat cost, right?
Correct. That's exactly what it is.
So yeah, now that it's very Pokemon, isn't it?
And it's made the link.
Yeah. The only thing in my mind that could potentially mean that maybe this isn't as good as it could be is that it's like a stage 2, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Is there support for ramping up yet, like a rare candy kind of situation yet? Okay.
Nope.
Okay, interesting. So you've got a 50 card deck, but you can play 4 of these. Which, to be honest, that still works out as a similar consistency as like a 40 card deck though, you can play 3 or
20 card deck where you can play 2. It's same ratios.
It's kind of similar ratios, right? So I guess it depends a little bit on whether there are any like really powerful stage 1 or basic, or what, I'm not sure what basics are called.
Debuts.
Debuts, okay. So I guess it depends on like where the meta is, with whether like there are just some really powerful debuts that you don't need to ramp, where you don't need to evolve.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
definitely
sure.
not the turn.
No, there's not really much of that, not in the Sora line at least anyway.
Okay. So I guess so. I mean, this just seems like a really, really good card then to me. Like, the drawing effect seems really powerful. The dice roll, it's obviously not the most consistent thing, but it has the potential to just completely swing a game. And even if it's not a guaranteed 80, like if this was like if you had to roll a dice once and if it was odd, it did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was even, it did 80, and then you could continue on. You have a 50% chance of doing nothing, and then that's a lot more inconsistent. But this still seems good.
Yeah, you are guaranteed to do the 80 damage originally.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this is like an 8 out of 10, or maybe even a 9 out of 10 card to me.
Sure. No, I respect that. I mean, I would say that the Sora deck, if you go with, so this is from the booster set, not from the starter deck.
Oh, okay.
But if you are a beginner to the game and you want a decent deck to learn how to play properly, understand the mechanics fully, Pocono Sora is a really good deck to do that with.
Cool.
It's a really good entry level like ramp system in terms of, oh, this is where you go from debut to first to second. How do we do that? What does that card do? What's the outcome? Like, understanding that, this is a really good like learner deck to use. I've used like a deck using this card quite a lot for teaching people how to play.
Yeah, it seems really simple, but just like your game plan with this card isn't exactly going to be complicated, but you know that a lot of the time it's just going to work, I guess.
Exactly.
I guess as the meta evolves, like just like big beat sticks like this tend to kind of fade out eventually.
Precisely. You'll see that there are other cards that basically, because of the synergy, so the only problem with the Sora deck is that the synergy is not the best, and that's what causes that's where the consistency issues come in. There are other decks in the game currently that are significantly more consistent with a similar, if not better, damage output, which is more consistently guaranteed.
Oh wow, okay. Wow, we're already at that stage with it.
They made set 1 extremely strong and then realized their mistakes. Talking of which, let's move on to the next card.
Yeah,
we have a first bloom Nanashi Mume.
Mume!
So yes, so she's in set 1. So there's quite a few promise cards in set 1. The only one that isn't is Fauna. And then she left afterwards. Like, oh well, okay. Maybe no Fauna cards. So yeah, she's a first bloom with 100 HP. So again, she's a stage 1. She's got a bloom effect, which means when you play her by blooming on top of something, so like you would evolving, where you go from basic to stage 1.
Gotcha.
You would go from debut to first. And on the point of doing that, if that card that you're blooming with has a bloom effect, it activates. So if bloomed from debut, i.e. if it's played on top of a debut, you can in this game go from first to first and second to second. So you're not just stuck doing basic first second. You can go debut to first to second, or first to first, and then second to second as well. So you can basically re-trigger bloom effects.
Wow, that's really interesting. It's super unique.
Yeah, it's really cool. So if bloomed from a debut, you may reveal 1 debut or first holomem other than Buzz being basically EX Pokemon, from your deck with the promise tag. So you see down the bottom left here, there's like EN, promise, bird, painting.
I wondered what the hashtags were for.
So they're like traits.
I see.
So yeah, so you search your deck for a debut or first non-Buzz holomem with promise and add it to your hand and shuffle it to your deck. So it's just it's a promise tutor. And then it's just got a simple 1 colorless cheer art for 30 damage.
I see. Okay. So being able to search your deck and add to hand is always really strong.
Yes.
I think in Magic, do they call them tutors?
Yes, correct. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So I'm guessing that the promise type has a lot of synergy together.
Yes.
That would kind of make sense.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing holding it back is that it's a bloom effect. So you have to be able to, it's very specifically blooming from a debut.
Correct.
Which means that if you are blooming again onto another first stage or second stage, you're not going to get this effect again. Correct. So it's a really good effect. It feels like it has a pretty big limitation though, in that kind of way. Its attack is very low and doesn't have any kind of additional effects to it either. So this seems like it probably has, it's probably good for some level of consistency for this deck. But I imagine you're using this to get to either another first stage or ramping up to a second stage.
Yep.
That is where that's the main thing that you're aiming towards with this card, and this is just a way of like helping you get to that almost.
Yeah, no, you've pretty much nailed it on the head there. This is not a character that you tend to bring to the front stage to actually do attacks. Right. It is one that you normally sit in the back row, bloom into first, and then bloom into second, and then you start using the second. The second Mume has got a collab effect, so you collab with it. It basically lets you search for any promise holomem as well on the collab second. Just any promise, no matter what you like, you just grab anything. It's really good, and it's got a really good art as well. I really should have added that card after this so you could react to it. Good job, mate.
This is the kind of card that, like, depending on how powerful the second stage is, really depends on like how good this card is. Like, this is the kind of card that if the second stage that this turns into is like super busted and really, really powerful, in Yu-Gi-Oh, they would probably ban this card instead of the second stage.
So you know what's funny?
Oh no, wait, did they?
In the Japanese format, this was restricted to 1. Oh, okay. It has since been lifted.
Oh, okay.
Because the rest of the game is sort of caught up. But yes, after like the first, I think it was like they released the restriction list after like the first 6 weeks of the game coming out, and this was one of the cards that was hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's often a very common way of doing ban lists, right? It's that like, okay, there's a really oppressive like boss monster of a deck. Rather than hitting the boss monster, they hit the consistency of the deck instead. To make it harder to get to that kind of final stage. So okay, I can kind of see if like full power Mume is a problem.
Yeah, full power Promise is a problem because there's also another restricted card in Promise, and it's a first bloom Iris, which has a bloom effect. No matter how you bloom it, just if bloomed, your center and collab position arts gain plus 30.
Oh wow!
So you're getting a plus 60 damage in 1 turn by turn 2.
Whoa!
Which when your opponent's holomems are going to be anywhere between 60 and maybe 130 HP, plus 60 is huge.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just look at this as the first stage, like 100 HP, to be able to get that much extra arts damage that early on.
Yeah. So the fact you can
just sweep then, like, potentially.
Exactly, and there was a reason why when the Japanese game first came out, about 70% of the meta was Promise.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then the other 20% was Kanata, which we'll come to a card in that later.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
But yes, as you said, this is a card that should be hit, and it was.
I can't believe I called that. Wow,
that was brilliant. I was sitting going, he's saying this like, does he know? Does he realize he's right?
Do you know? I'm shocked by how well I've done on this so far. Like, this is kind of crazy.
Oh no! Right, next card then. Here's Kanata.
Hey,
so this is her second bloom. So 200 HP. For a second bloom, I would say the standard HP is between 190 and 220. It's pretty standard. So it's in the mid range. Okay. Again, it's a white holomem, as you can tell by the top banner. It's got a collab effect. On collab, you deal 50 special damage to your opponent's center holomem. Special damage is basically effect damage. And then it's got a 3 white cheer art for 100 damage with, again, plus 50 to white. But if your opponent's holomem is down by this art and the damage dealt was greater than the remaining HP by 50 or more, your opponent takes another life. So normally, when you down a holomem, they lose 1 life. If it's a buzz holomem, i.e. EX, they lose 2 life. Makes sense, right? With this, if, for example, that holomem had, I don't know, 50 HP left, and you deal 100 damage to it, they're taking not just 1, but 2 for a normal holomem, and not just 2, but 3 life if a buzz is downed.
I mean, that seems kind of busted. I mean, I'm really shocked that there's cards this powerful so early into the game.
I'll give you
usually you want to like ease people into like new TCGs.
I'll give you a little bit of context as well. There is the Oshi for Kanata, which is it's her own Oshi, Kanata. She has a Oshi skill for 3 holo power. Basically, it's called Squeeze, and it reduces the opponent's center's holomem HP to 50.
To 50?
Yep. So no matter what it's on, it reduces it to 50.
That's wild. Okay, and you can just use that
once per turn, as long as you've got 3 holo power to use it, which takes you at least 3 turns to generate.
Okay,
but I should also add the context. The way you generate holo power is by collabing. So when you collab, you put the top card of your deck into your holo power face down, and then that is like a resource that you can then spend for your Oshis.
Okay, this sounds oppressive. That's the best way I could describe this. This sounds like the kind of deck that as soon as you sit opposite someone and you know they're playing this deck, you're like, oh no, really? Do I have to go through this again?
So for context, this card also got restricted.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good.
So this was a boss monster that got restricted, and it's still currently restricted.
Good.
Yeah, it's restricted to 1. And there is another counter that's also restricted to 1, which is also very strong.
This sounds really fun if you're playing this deck, and it sounds like the worst if you're playing against it. Like playing against this just sounds like no fun at all.
I hate how accurate that is. Yes, the card is absolutely cracked. And I don't know what they were thinking with the set design, because they broke the game nearly. Just with how good some of these cards are.
The synergy between the Oshi and this stage 2 is just like, you're always going to get that extra 1 life, basically, because you're always going to be swinging for... You're probably going to be swinging by 50 or more.
Yep.
If you're using that effect in tandem with it.
Yeah, we guarantee to, because... You know, even if as the opponent you go, oh, I've got this Buzz Holoman with 240 HP, try and hit that. Yeah, I'm just going to drop it down to 50 with my Oshi skill, and then, I'm going to smack you for 100. Oh, by the way, that's now 50 over what your HP was, so take an extra life.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the card is absolutely nuts.
I kind of feel like if the Oshi effect was like less exaggerated, was like less intense, like if it was like reduce their HP by 50 rather than reduce their HP to 50.
Yeah, I've always said the card should be changed, so it should be reduced to 100.
Yeah, something like that. Like there's at least then a chance that the secondary effect of Wings Darker Than Black won't get triggered like every single time.
Yeah,
and then that would make it fairer. It'd still be really strong. It would still be really strong, right? Like you're still you'll probably still be getting that effect like a significant amount of the time.
Yeah.
But at least it wouldn't be like guaranteed every time. Like I feel like in trading card games, any like just like super powerful effect that is guaranteed every single time is a problem.
Yes.
Because this is basically why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a trading card game that are just full of problems. Yeah. Because it is the card game. Like what I like in Pokemon is that like coin flips are a big part of it a lot of the time, and there's a lot of randomization that means like you're never fully guaranteed things. And there's this, and
that works in this game as well. There's a lot of die rolls instead of coin flips.
Yeah, and I think that's healthy for TCGs. I think when TCGs are just like, I'm guaranteed to get my combo every single time, and based on whatever hand you draw at the beginning, basically defines who wins. Yeah, it isn't really fun. That's why I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, no, exactly. Right.
So, yeah.
I agreed. Card is cracked.
Yeah.
Okay, next card we have... Pekora. So this is her second bloom, 200 HP on bloom, so bloom effect, heal 50 from itself, and then Operation Bonify Humanity, the 60 plus with a advantage to blue for free green cheer and a colorless cheer. You roll a die 3 times, and then it gains plus 10 times the number rolled. So for example, if you rolled 3 6s, this art would do 240 damage base.
Whoa.
However, if you roll 1s, it does 90 base.
Okay. Wow. Okay, healing effects are usually pretty good. They seem to be, in Pokemon, healing effects seem to be pretty good compared to Yu-Gi-Oh! You don't really see them a lot. It's not that important of a mechanic, but in Pokemon, they usually are good. So I'm imagining 50 is a decent chunk.
Yeah.
That could save you from Kanata, potentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The cheer cost for it seems to be quite steep.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to take you that's going to take you at least 4 turns.
Mm-hmm.
It is a second stage though, so you've probably already ramped up a little bit to get to that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's other stuff in this deck that helps you ramp up quicker.
Yes, there is.
There is? Okay, that definitely makes
the first Bloom Peko is literally on Bloom. Choose your center or collab Holomem and put the top card of your cheer deck to it.
Okay, so yeah, that immediately makes this card better.
Yep.
60.
So for context, I guess the art is going to be doing not between 90 and 240.
Yeah, I mean 90 just as a base seems very good already. The fact that you have the potential for up to 240 seems really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Is this better than Sora? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because it's comparable in some ways.
Yeah.
Sora also has the potential to get up to that 240.
Let's add a little more context.
Okay.
So the Pekora Oshi has 2 skills.
Okay.
The first one, the once per turn skill, the Oshi skill, is for 2 holo power. When one of your Holomem is downed during your opponent's turn, you may basically move any green cheers that were attached to it to any of your Holomem in any way you like.
Whoa.
And then its SP skill, its once per game skill, is called Lucky Rabbit. And it literally goes, yeah, all your die rolls just turn a 6.
What?
Yep.
What? Okay,
Yep.
I'm dumbfounded. I have never heard of an effect like that in a card game ever in my life.
Yep.
The whole point of like die roll randomization is to like do the exact. It's just turning it into Yu-Gi-Oh.
This is a once per game skill though.
Yeah. But even so, that could be the turn that just wins, right? If you just save that skill to when you know it will win you the game. Like if you're against a what was the version of EX?
Buzz.
Yeah, if you're facing down your opponent's Buzz, and you know that those like the extra 2 life is just what you need to win, it's just an auto win then. That seems okay. No, I mean Sora is looking like more and more basic with every single card.
Yep, this is what I was expecting. Like, yeah, Sora's really good. Wait.
Yeah, what did I give Sora? I think I gave Sora like a 7.5
You
or
did.
something. Yeah, I'm gonna put that down to like a 6. Because the ceiling is getting higher and higher. Yeah, because like Kanata felt like, I thought Kanata was maybe like a 9.
Yeah.
And but this seems like a similar power level.
So
like to me.
Yeah, in the meta, the only reason why this isn't as strong as Kanata is basically because of the Oshi skill of the Kanata. Like that card is nuts.
Yeah.
And then also the Kanata is designed in a way that its early game aggro is ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay.
Like turn 1, if you are going second, you have the opportunity on your first attack to do 90 damage. It has to be a very specific line to get there, but you can do 90 damage on your very first attack.
Wow.
Which is what makes Kanata so good. This deck, it's the rest of the Pekora line is very, very reliant on die roll. So when you've only got that, I can fix the 6 once per game only. The rest of the deck throughout the rest of the game, it's very high rolly. Like you either have to roll evens, or it gains a bonus based upon the number you roll.
That makes sense.
And that is the entire Pekora playstyle.
Yeah. So this does have the chance to potentially, like, you can get unlucky and you just might not be able to do all the things that you need to do in this deck.
Exactly.
Whereas like Kanata doesn't necessarily have that problem. It's
precisely
more
exactly
consistent.
that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the Pekora. It's probably my favorite deck to play in terms of how fun it is.
Yeah, I can see
it's
that.
an extremely fun deck to play.
Yeah.
And again, if it's someone that likes a bit of gambling, we all love a bit of gambler here. We're weebs. If you love a bit of gambler, this is absolutely the deck for you to just try and learn the game with. It's so fun.
Very on brand for Pekora.
Exactly. No war crimes though. No war crimes yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right. moving on to the next card. I think this is going to be the Buzz Holomem. Yes. So this is a Buzz Holomem, Amado Polka. On Bloom, you may return one troop member from your archive to your hand. So your archive is your discard. Troop member is a named card, which is a fan type support, and then it's art for 50 plus Polka Circus, and it gains plus 20 for each fan attached to all of your Holomem. Now, I will give you a little bit of context here. The deck that this runs really well in runs 12 fans, and so fans are very similar to tools in Pokemon.
Okay.
So you attach them.
Yeah.
The difference with fans is that one, they must be attached to a named Holomem. So for example, the troop member fan must be attached to Polka. There is KFP for Kiara. There is the Nusagi Alliance for Pekora. There are certain cards that have to go to certain Holomems, but you can attach as many fans as you want to that Holomem.
Right.
So you could, in theory, have 4 fans attached to the same Holomem, or you could have one attached to one place, one attached to another, and 2 attached to another, sort of thing. You can distribute how you like.
So this can potentially get plus 80.
More. So it's for any fan. So this deck, the way it works, it runs with a 12 fan deck. So it's Polka, Kiara, and Pekora is the deck. So you only run like one card of Pekora, which basically you just then attach to Pekora fan to. You then run like 1 or 2 copies of a Kiara line, which you attach the Kiara fan to, and then you've got the Polka line, which lets you attach the Polka fans. So if you have, so you could have from 1 fan to 12 fans on your stage at any time. So this at absolute most can do 290 damage.
Wow. But
I would say on average, it's probably about 150 to 190.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense because there's a lot of consistency issues with getting that high. Like, I doubt you're ever going to be able to pull that off with all 12.
No, right? I would say I consistently get 150 to 170.
Okay, that's still really good though. That's a very respectable amount of damage.
And a bit of context as well. The fan for Polka, the troop member, is with the Holomem this is attached to. When you use that Holomem's arts, it is treated as a red cheer. So it's a pseudo cheer ramp.
Right. So you don't necessarily need to have attached a red cheer already.
Exactly.
Wow. Ooh, that's good. That is good. It's only a 2 cheer cost as well. Which is very low, so it's very easy to get off. This seems good, but for an EX, for a Buzz, I think I kind of expected a little bit more, maybe. Considering how powerful some of the second stages were.
I suppose
doesn't seem as powerful as a Kanata or have necessarily. I feel like you can get the high ceiling of Pekora easier than you can with this.
Yeah. So I guess the thing to think about is that this is classed as a first bloom. So this can go from a debut straight into this.
Yeah. So
whereas to get to your second, you have to go from debut to first to second. So you've got an extra evolution step.
True. And I guess comparing this to the only other first stage I've seen was the Mume card, and this is significantly stronger than that in terms of an oppressive, like an offensive card, right?
Yes.
Rather than a consistency card.
Yes.
So yeah, I get it. It seems good. It seems good. I wouldn't be surprised if there are far more powerful Buzz cards though. So I'm going to be a little bit reserved with it, but
sure.
It seems good and consistent. Good consistent early damage.
So I would say in terms of buzzes, for set 1, it's the best buzz.
Oh wow.
Beyond, so where we are now with the Japanese game in set 4, it's still probably one of the top 3.
Wow. Okay.
Like so the thing that makes this deck work is the consistency of being able to get your fans.
Yeah.
So the normal first bloom Polka, so the idol outfit version, is on bloom, search deck for a fan. There are also in the later game, you run Polka with Miko, which has a first bloom, which says on bloom, search your deck for the Miko fan. So getting like between 4 and 8 fans on your stage is not difficult.
Oh, right. Okay.
So like, realistically, I would say if you are putting your polka into your center stage and you haven't got 4 or 5 cheers on, or 4 or 5 fans on your stage, you're playing the game wrong.
Okay, right, okay.
So you're basically aiming to do 150 damage minimum with this card.
Wow, okay. That makes it a lot different then. I was underestimating just how easily you could get these fan cards to attach. I was thinking that you'd mostly be hard drawing them.
Nope, you can just hard shoot them.
Wow, okay. Yeah, in that case, if you're just like shooting like 150 out the gate, then yeah, that's amazing.
Which again, in certain situations, you can do that from turn 2.
That's wild. Again, you could just sort of sweep with that.
Yep.
And, wow, amazing. Okay, yeah.
This card is not on the restriction list.
Oh, really?
I guess the downside of it being down, you losing 2 life, is big enough to it to not be a concern.
Yeah.
Because obviously at the end of the day, if you take down 3 of these, you lose the game.
Yeah.
Rather than having to lose 5 Holomem in general, or 6.
That makes sense.
So yes, it's a very interesting card. It's very fun deck. A lot of the decks are really fun, like super fun.
So far, like just from hearing all of this, the mechanics of the game seem really fun. And I do actually like kind of how high powered it is right at the start, because I mean that's part of what made Yu-Gi-Oh fun as well, is just how like crazy high powered it is. But when you've got some of the limitations that make Pokemon a lot more fun, this seems like a really good mix of both. And I really enjoy that.
Yeah. But that is all the cards we're going to cover today with Riku. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, mate.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun, and I'm really interested in picking up the Hololive trading card game now that I understand a little bit about what the game is and how it's played. It seems really exciting. I'm really looking forward to the release.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome. And again, if you didn't know, the game comes out on the 11th of July, which is going to be in a couple of days' time from the point of this being released. So, yes, this is very, very great and very awesome. And I know we're not too far away in the world of UK. So if at any point you ever want to come down or you want me to come and meet you, I'll happily bring all my stuff and we'll have some games.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that so much.
But at that point, we are going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. Check out my other socials, links in the description, and please consider joining and becoming a member to help support the channel further. And also, I'll put Wonder Riku's link in the description as well. Make sure you check out Wonder Riku's YouTube channel, and it's pretty good stuff. It's really, I remember the first video I watched of yours was your Blue Horizon Q&A. It was amazing. I loved it.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.